really ought to have something that you can share this from here. To need to have that together. Let me see. Copy that. Y'all give me a second. I'm trying to get this here YouTube together. Let me see here. Let's see. YouTube Studio. Let's see. Oh, okay, there you go. That's, right there. Y'all forgive me. I'm trying to figure out. I'm streaming from the laptop. It's a little different on the laptop than when you're on the cell phone. I'm in Detroit right now in a bed and breakfast. So that's why y'all see the microwave and refrigerator back there. And so I was coming up here and we were going to be doing like a men's chat, men's talk, but then change of plans. And, you know, me and got a mentee up here and a gentleman that like a mentee. He and his wife been supporting me, you know, consuming the content for about a decade now. And so in the couples course, and we had an extra room. So I was like, hey, if one of y'all couples want to get away, we got an extra room at the bed and breakfast. Y'all could come use it as a little getaway. Or if one of the husbands want to get away, could come and, you know, be a part of the little shoot that we doing. And so one of the gentlemen was able to make it. And he actually from the area. So that's been kind of cool, just being able to go around and see Detroit. It's been kind of cool. So wanted to pop on here because we just up, you know, kind of chilling, relaxing at the bed and breakfast. What they'll do is they bring you breakfast to your room. So that was kind of cool. And so I'm gonna be coming up here probably to write books and stuff. But we just, you know, up chilling. We're gonna be shooting later. So I said, let me make use of this time because I've been watching the Kanye West documentary, which is inspiring. I've been watching that on Netflix. But I said, let me make use of some of this time and, you know, hop on this here line and get my video in. And I wanted to do something for the Blessed Business Tribe too, because Saturdays is when I post for the Blessed Business Tribe. So I'll probably be doing that as well and try to get something up and, you know, be able to post that. And then to the Patreon, now on Patreon, you have on the first. It's the first when you get charged for Patreon. So, you know, be mindful of that don't sign up if you want to support over there. Wait till the first if you haven't joined already, because it'll charge you that day and then it'll charge you again on the first and then going forward. But what I'll be doing with the Blessed Business Tribe is I'm going to leave it up in case you just want to stay on YouTube with the Blessed Business Tribe. But I'm also going to be posting those videos for the $10 and up patrons on Patreon. So if you're not in the Blessed Business Tribe, but you want to get those business videos, then you could just join the Patreon and I'll be posting the same videos over there. Going forward, all the past ones, it might be too much to try to re-upload them or what have you. Or I would have to make them all unlisted or something like that. So it might be a little hard to do that. But if y'all got any questions for me on here, what they call these, ask me anything, put on hashtag over there, Kanye West, they actually got episode 2 up now. Episode 3 is March 2nd, but it's just kind of interesting to see what he's doing. Lorenzo, okay, Lorenzo, I seen you in the chat the other day. Hi, I met a guy before his month-long trip to Nigeria. He said that he was interested to get to know me. Should I be expecting to hear from him while there or once he returns? You should hear from him while he's there if he have WhatsApp or if he have a way to contact you, if he's really interested. But if not, then it'll be when he gets back. And if somebody's staying a whole month, though, either they doing big business or they got a family over there. So that's the other thing to kind of keep in mind as well. You might be with somebody with a family. And I'm trying to think what's going on right now in the relationship space out in the world. I haven't been up on any of the, the blogs or anything. I haven't seen anything because what's going on in the other parts of the world, Ukraine, and prayers out for that right there. It's kind of hard. It's kind of weird being on the other side of the world and seeing stuff going on, and you still got to live your life. You still got to run your business. You still got to do all of this. And it's always that feeling of like when you going through, you want everything around you to shut down. You want, when you grieving the loss of a loved one and you looking at other people like, hey, how you smiling today? And I just lost somebody I love. But it's always that lesson about with life, how life goes on. Like people still living, people still doing what they got to do in the midst of all the chaos going on. That's a life lesson that I always give myself. Like, don't nobody care about you and your problems. They gonna keep doing what they got to do. So that's more the reason to take care of you and to make sure you prioritizing you, because something happened to you. It ain't gonna be a national holiday, but yet we'll put ourselves on hold and give ourselves up for everybody, for the job and for everything else, and don't think about us. And then boom. Tips to keep my 6-year-old son on a healthy, godly path. Single mom, his dad is still in the world. I'll tell you what, one of the biggest things with parenting, the biggest mistake I see parents make is just not being consistent. Not being consistent and thinking that we're being too hard. And so I just ordered some shirts yesterday for myself personally and say consistency. And I'm gonna be wearing that. That might be the only shirt I wear on my videos going forward once I get them, because I think I ordered 12 of them. So I got enough to get through a whole almost 2 weeks. And just to remind myself, I think in everything in life is consistency. So I'll give you an example. Last night I'm talking to my son. I sent him this video that went viral, and it was about this young lady. It's a young white lady. Young white girl, she in high school, looked like probably like my son age. And Christine, God bless you. She did this video and she's saying the N-word. Y'all little dark ends, you probably would be this and that if you just weren't so dark ends. We don't like ends. And she's saying it with the R, with the R on there. And I sent that to my son because he goes to a pretty much all white school. And I was saying to him, this is what kids do with social media, because he's been asking me to get on Snapchat. My son's 14 years old. My son will be 15 in March, and he don't have a Snapchat. And he could sneak and get one. But I talked to him about it, and I tell him about it. And my wife, she said she was doing some research, and she said the number one social media that they say is the worst for kids to have is Snapchat, because the pictures disappear. They could set it up on that disappearing thing. And so all my son's friends got Snapchat, and he was like, it's another way to communicate. And I just don't like my son energy right now. Just he getting older, this rap music, go to making think they cool. So I'm texting with my son. He 14. I'm in Detroit. He home. They coming back from a NBA game that is my tickets. Is 4 courtside tickets. So here my 14-year-old, my 7-year-old, my wife and her dad coming back from a courtside NBA game, and I'm texting with my son, and he a straight A student now. And this is what people don't understand. My son is a straight A student. and at a hard school. And he take AP class. He got an AP class, which is an advanced placement class. His other classes are honors classes. So he in all honors classes. So his GPA right now is like a 4.6. Whereas, for a lot of people, if you get a 4.0, you're a genius. Three, I would have it with a 3.0. I would have it with a 2.0. But athletes, we have it with a 2.0. My son got a 4.6 GPA right now because he take all honors classes and an AP class. And so he got straight A's, got 2 A minuses, AP class, I think a geometry class. But we texting last night, and I said, son, stop texting with lowercase letters. Like, make your first word uppercase and use proper grammar. And he was like, well, Dad, I use proper grammar on my papers, my essays and stuff. I say, well, you need to use proper grammar in your text message too. He was like, that's very time consuming. I say, anything worth having is time consuming. And I say, you need to practice excellence in the small things so it'll be easier in the large things. And he was like, Dad, he was like, are you being serious with me right now? I'm like, yes, I'm being serious. I say, you see, I'm talking with proper grammar, proper punctuation, proper spelling. I say, practice excellence in the small things. And he was like, okay, I'll try my best. But he's still texting me. And he was like, okay, good night. I'm going to go to sleep. Now, I didn't dismiss him. I didn't say, okay, you could go to sleep. I didn't say, hey, this conversation over. So he dismissing me. So I call him on the phone. I said, hey, didn't I just tell you to text with proper grammar and punctuation? Yes, sir. I say, so what you still texting me with lowercase letters and no punctuation for? Oh, I got to change it in my settings. I changed it in my settings like that for the first word to be lowercase. I said, son, why you change your settings to be dumb? I said, why would you change your settings to be incorrect? I said, change your settings to excellence. And I'm telling him in life, change your lifestyle to excellence and be excellent in everything you do. Don't be mediocre over here and then just think you could turn on excellence when you want to turn on excellence. And so I talked to him and I got off the phone with him. And then I called his mama, she driving. And I said, hey, tell your son he off that Xbox all day Saturday, all day Sunday. Because I don't like his attitude. I don't like the way he talking to me. And then I said, son, how you gonna look when I was talking? I said, how you gonna look when a scout texting you in the 11th grade and you texting with lowercase first word and no punctuation? He said, oh, well, I would text him the proper way. I say, so how you gonna text, and y'all forgive my language, I say, how you gonna text a white man the proper way and you gonna text me with slang and lowercase, and I'm the one who gave you your whole life and everything you got? I say, boy, you better talk to me with excellence and respect before you talk to anybody else with excellence and respect. Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. And see, he think I be being too serious, but it's this thing, and this is what I see with a lot of parents. When I look at this, I got a homeboy, he called me yesterday, and Andre Berto, world champion, boxer. This man, his dad had him doing 500 push-ups, 500 squats before school. That man walk around school. He said he walk around school limping. He's so sore. And then he running 5 miles. Daddy driving behind him in the car. He doing the deck of cars, doing push-ups with the deck of cars. He training as a boxer from 6 years old, 7, 8 years old. Next thing you know, go to the Olympics for his country, Haiti. Live in America, but it's Haitian descent. Go to the Olympics for Haiti, winning national championships, sign as a pro boxer, around 18, 20, somewhere around there. Make millions of dollars, fought against Floyd Mayweather. And looking at how he was raised, all of us could have said, man, your daddy crazy. But do you know Berto never did drugs, never been arrested, never got in trouble, made millions of dollars and turned out just fine. But it seemed like his daddy was overbearing and way too hard on him. And then an ex-NFL player who played 8 years in the NFL texted me this video of a man, and it's online, went viral. And the man said, this is gonna turn into a parenting session right now. The man said, my grandfather walked 10 miles to school. My father walked 5 miles. He said, my father drove a Ford. I drive a Cadillac. My son gonna drive a Lamborghini, and his son gonna drive a Ferrari. And, or this is what his granddad told him. And he said, tough times make tough men, but tough men make easy times. And easy times make weak men, and weak men make tough times. Raise warriors. And that thing hit me so hard because I drive a Bentley. My wife drives a G-Wagon. I got a Sprinter, and I got a Challenger, a Superstar. All of my cars cost over $100,000. So my son, who was 14, get out of a $300,000 car and get into a $200,000 car, and then get into another $200,000 car, then get into another $100,000, $150,000 car. And then I bought his granddad a $160,000 car. So even I bought his grandma, both of his grandmas a Mercedes Benz. I bought his granddad a Maserati. So whatever my son go, he have no struggle because of what his dad created. So his dad is creating easy times. But when you create easy times, that can create weak children. And when your children are weak, then your children gonna create hard times, because your children gonna have you bailing them out of jail. Your children gonna have you paying their bills. Your children gonna have you taking care of them till they 40, 50 years old, because you created easy times. So even though we create easy times, we still have to demand excellence. And so my son 14 getting ready to be 15, the thing he loved the most is that game. But he think what win time on that game, because he get to play his games on Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday. He think what win time on that game is his grades. But no, that's what your mama want, them grades. I know you ain't got to have straight A's to make $1 million. The grades are important. I want respect. You got to talk to me like you got some sense. So my son, huff and puff, he playing a soccer game right now. When he finished his soccer game, he got to go straight to his school because they got a grant from MIT for a technology project they building. He going to the school, and he have to do a tour with the people from MIT, showing them the facilities and everything they using. And they chose him as the spokesperson because he's so well spoken. My son's so well spoken because his daddy not that well spoken. But my son's so well spoken because when he was little, when my son was 5 years old, 6 years old, I used to get on to him. I taught him how to shake hands, look somebody in the eye, say, hello, I'm doing great. How are you? And every single time he did it wrong, as soon as we walked away from that person, I say, son, pick your head up, look somebody in the eye, and you say hello, and you say, how are you? And you say, I'm doing great. You say, I'm doing great. How are you? And he was so little that he couldn't understand that. But now when my son meets somebody, we went to the Magic game. We met one of the players' mom. As soon as my son shook her hand, she said, whoa, strong handshake. I love that. My son 14, I taught him that at 3, 4, 5 years old. When my son was little, his mama don't say yes, sir, and no, sir, yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am to their parents, because they Jamaican. So they don't say yes, sir, no, sir. That's from America, and they think it's from slavery. But it's also from the military. Sir, yes, sir. And so my dad went to the military. So my dad raised me, yes, sir, no, sir. I heard my wife talking to her parents, yeah, no. I'm like, what the world? Because I still say yes, sir, no, sir to my daddy now, and to my mama, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, now. So when my son, as soon as they could talk, yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. So when they go out and they meet people, guess what everybody come and say to us? Your kids is so well mannered. Your kids so well mannered. And guess what that do? That put them at the front of the line. That put them in the head of the class. It wins favor because adults want to be respected. But adults feel like we can't teach our kids no respect. And that's why our society is in the shambles that it's in, because parents so caught up on Netflix and in fornication or adultery and reality TV in our own lives that we not raising our kids. So now we in a generation of adults who were not raised. They just grew. And it's gonna get worse and worse and worse unless we take and we do something about it and we change the way we raise our kids. Cause listen, so I talked to my son, he's like, Dad, is it really that serious? On text message, I say, son, everything's serious. I say everything's serious because I said, I'm in Detroit. I just walked out of a restaurant last night. We went to the sloppy chop last night and I had me some lamb chops. We walk out the thing, out the restaurant. The two guys I'm with, they was ahead of me because I think I went to the restaurant, I did something. No, I went to get me a toothpick. And so they was ahead of me. So when I come out, I look right here to the street. I'm on the sidewalk on the side of Sloppy Chop. I look into the street. It's a police car. They in the Ford Explorer, and they got their window down, and both of them breaking their neck, looking at me. Now I'm walking fast because I got on the little windbreaker, and it's snowing in Detroit, and it's cold, so I'm walking fast. I got a bop on me. I'm bopping bop like a crackhead, and so they looking at me. And then I look over and I see them looking at me. And then the guy pull out the flashlight and cut the flashlight on. By the time I was caught up with my two guys, and one of the guys, he's 6'6". And so they shine the flashlight in our face. And I'm like, what in the world? This man shine. We dressed nice. Like I got on turquoise. It just came out the restaurant. Why you got this flashlight in my face? Now, I didn't realize it. I didn't process it fast enough. But me being a successful Black man, when you get some success, you start to feel yourself because now you feel like you done made it. So you get more confidence than you had when you was a poor Black person in America. And so me, I be checking people left and right. So had it been another 3-4 seconds, I would have said to the police, what you got that light in my face for? And then what you think would have happened? It would have been a downward spiral from there. So I told my son, I say, son, police just shined a flashlight in my face for walking out the restaurant. Probably was looking for somebody. I said, what you think could have happened? My son, I don't know. Got straight A's now. I don't know. Your kid could have book smarts, but not have street smarts. I say, son, use your head and you tell me if the police shine the flashlight in my eyes, and I said to him, why you got that flashlight in my eyes? What you think gonna happen? And then he said, I don't know. Maybe he would have tased you. Maybe he would have got out and, got on you or something. I say, exactly. And I said, so what you think would have happened from there if I would have reacted? I said, I could have died tonight. Just like that, a turn of events could happen. And that's what happened every single day in America. Every single day around the world. Just like that, a turn of events could happen. And had we not been emotionally intelligent, we could have either went to jail last night or even lost our life. Because when all of these things happen, that's all it is. It's just an escalation of events. It's just a police said something to the person. Person ain't like what he said. Person gave a little bit of resistance or said something the wrong way. Police ain't like it. Police mad, had a bad day. He frustrated. He angry. He take it out on the person. Not somebody dead. And now it's riots in the streets and it's all of this right here, just off a series of events. So I was telling my son, take everything serious. Take everything serious. And I'm glad that topic came up. And that gave me a theme of the chat, because I feel like even more so than relationships, and that's one of the biggest things, is that even more so than relationships, mothers and fathers need to be focused on their children. If you got children, we put so much emphasis on relationships that we forget about when we brought children into the world. It no longer is about our happiness. And that's what I try to get single parents to understand. If you had kids, it's no longer about your happiness. Now it's about your intentionality. Now it's about your purpose. Now it's about your production with your children. And my sister's a single mom, and I just gotta live. I just gotta live. And if I don't live, I be done killed myself. I say, listen, you didn't think about that when you got on your back. So if we laid down to have kids, then we need to stand up and raise them and take what come with it. Take what come with it. And so guess what? On Valentine's, on anniversary, on birthday, our sons have soccer. So we at a soccer field. We at a soccer field on every holiday, Easter, everything, except for Christmas or stuff like that. And it's in a tournament right before Christmas or right after it, so you can't even go nowhere. It's right after Thanksgiving, so you can't even go nowhere. So because we had kids, we got to make sure that their life is full. We got to make sure that they're taken care of, got to make sure that they're being developed. And so that means we got to sacrifice our holidays, our birthdays. And the number one thing I see, Finesse, God bless you. The number one thing I see with parents is a lack of consistency with our children. And that's one thing that I'm going to be. And you know what? We don't really remember pain. Like, think about how we don't really remember pain. And when I say this, is like, it's some things that have happened to people when they were 3 years old, 4 years old, and they remember it, but it doesn't have them. They're not crippled because of it. Like, it's some real pain that have happened to people, and they're not crippled because of it. And so one thing I know, if you loving your child and you strict on your child and you consistently strict on your child, you love them, you praise them, you support them, but you also are hard on them, meaning you harder than the world gonna be, and you preparing them. You can't protect them, so you gotta prepare them. So if you protecting your child, Brittany, welcome to the Blessed Tribe. If you protecting your child, if you preparing your child, when your child get grown, what do we say about our parents who were strict on us? Do we hate our parents? We say, man, my mom was strict, but my daddy was strict, but hey, it paid off. It paid off. They kept me out of jail. It kept me out the streets. It kept me, Renee, God bless you. Welcome to the Blessed Tribe. It kept me. And we look back and we like, you know what? I ain't even mad about that. I ain't even mad about that, because I know what they were trying to do. Now it's different. Now it's people who were physically abused, like really done wrong, and they overcame that and they turned that into purpose, and they raising their children differently and better with more love, or some carrying the generational thing on, but they healing from that. So we have to ask ourselves, do we really think our children are going to be traumatized because we took them off their game, we took them off their tablet, we took them off of that because their attitude, their energy, their behavior, their grades, their work ethic wasn't up to par, and we setting a good standard? Now, if you setting a horrible standard, you setting a horrible example, you can't really expect nothing from your kids. But if you setting a good example and you being a role model, then you can expect excellence from your children. And that's what we got to get to. And I'm going to tell you, it got to be done. And we have to have consistency. We got to have engagement. We got to get over ourselves and our problems and what we going through and what we feeling. And we got to be consistently engaged with our children. And so my son, he probably a couple weeks ago was grounded from the game because he didn't live up to his mama's standards and what she asked of him. And now this weekend he grounded because he ain't living up to mine. And we asking for two different things. But what that's gonna make him is a well-rounded young man. And I tell him like this: I said, son, when you get out my house, you can do what you want to do. But when you get out of my house, you're gonna be trained for the world. You're gonna be ready for the world. So if you make a stupid decision, guess what you're gonna do? You're gonna live with it. I said, I guarantee you, I won't spend a dime of my hard-earned money to bail you out no jail or to get you out of trouble. If you done been prepared for that decision and you chose to make a bad decision, you're gonna live with the consequences. And so that's why I tell them, so if I'm gonna take that stance, that means I got to be hard on him and I got to teach him everything he need to know so that he is equipped to make the right decisions in his life. And that's one thing. And especially, I'm gonna tell y'all women, I'm gonna tell the women, see, men, we naturally hard by nature. Now, there's some men that don't know how to raise kids. But for the most part, because men require respect, because we demand respect, men naturally gonna raise children better in the sense of being prepared. And I hate to offend y'all ladies, but what happened is a lot of times what women do is you let the kids get away with too much, especially if you're a single mom, because you're saying, I don't want him to hate me. I don't want him to be against me. I want my son to be happy. I don't want my son to go choose his dad, or I don't want my son to be like his dad. And so you let him have his way, and you make your son your husband. You make your son your king. No, that's your son. Treat your son like a son. Hold your son accountable. Check your son. Get with your son. You ain't got to physically put hands on him if that ain't what you want to do. But take that tablet, take that Xbox, take them shoes out that closet and give him one pair of shoes. Wear those shoes. Like, let him know who pay the bills. Let him know who run this, and let him know respect all the way to the T is required, because we get disrespected in our own house and then go to the service and want to be yes sir, yes sir. We let our kids disrespect us, then they go to a stranger, sir, yes sir. No, you're not finna tell no stranger, sir, yes sir, and give me your butt to kiss. Absolutely not. You finna sir, yes sir me. And if you got a question for an adult, that's gonna come for the adults you meet in the world. But in my house, it's my rules. And so, because I take care of this here, and if you ready to take care of this here, then go ahead, go about your business. And so, and guess what a child gonna do? A child gonna respect that. They're gonna respect that because they know it's coming from love. It ain't abuse. It ain't out of the way. It's consistent. It's real. It's strategic. And that's what you raise in greatness. And see, a lot of times people don't realize when you raise greatness, like my dad, he required excellence. Yes, sir. No, sir. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. He did not let me get out the way. Now, my sister, he didn't do that. His daughter, he didn't do that, because what we let the girls do. Sometimes we let the girls be little Miss Princess, do their thing. So my sister had a soft spot for my daddy. But my daddy, being a man, he knew what the world was going to require me. Guess what his son did? His son bought him a $160,000 Maserati. He raised greatness. So it put me in a position to be great. And what it did for him, it paid him back. So now his son in a position to bless him with $3,000 a month. To bless his mama. My mama get $3,000 a month because they raised greatness. And so a lot of times parents don't realize it's like, and you don't raise to benefit you, but when you raise your child with dignity and respect, and you don't let them get away with nothing, and you own them, when they get to where they gotta go, they're gonna be able to bless their whole family and be a blessing to the world. because of how they raised. So because of how I was raised, look what I'm doing with my life. Now, when you look over into the darkness with people with stuff spinning on their desk, you see how they was raised. So what they doing with their platform, what they doing with millions of people listening, bashing and beating up on women verbally. And so what we have to realize as parents is you might not feel great. You might not feel great as a parent, meaning you might not be in the best shape that you want to be in. You might not have all the money you want to have. You might not have all the job and career you want to have. But what you get the opportunity to do is impact your child's life with excellence, to teach your child excellence. And then your child could grow up and reach millions. Your child could grow up and earn millions. Your child could grow up and be one of the people that changed the world because you took and you made your child your purpose and your investment. And a lot of times we don't realize that. So with my sons, I'm raising greatness. It ain't, and listen, and that way, if they don't become great, and great meaning a productive citizen, if they don't become great, that's on them. I'm gonna sleep well at night because I'm gonna say I did everything in my power. I gave them every tool. I gave them every resource. I gave them every tool. I gave them every ounce of wisdom. I held them accountable. They made a choice because adults could make choices. My parents raised greatness, but I still was a drug dealer. But because of the foundation, I knew how to get back on the right path. I knew how to get my life right. I still made stupid choices, but I knew how to get right. So listen, that's what I want y'all to understand. That and that was Ben and I was talking to my son like 11 p.m. last night on text, and he got grounded this weekend. That was God that had that young lady ask that question outside of a relationship question, because I feel like that's what we need. That's what we need. We gotta have better with kids. Any advice on pinning down a niche with coaching? I've surrendered to the fact that people have always looked to me for advice and insight, even being young, just having issues with choosing a lane. Um, I would say that when it comes to choosing your lane, it's hard because as creatures, as humans, we multifaceted. And so you find the thing that you know the most about, and it comes to you the easiest. So for me, because I had the most experience in relationships, I have more experience in relationships than I had in business. So I chose relationships to teach on that. So you have to look at, so if you got more experience with organization than relationships, then you're an organizing coach. You helping people get their stuff in order, organize their home, organize their closet, organize their schedule. And so you have to look at where you have the most experience. If you have most experience as a single parent than being in a healthy relationship, then you're a single parents coach. If you have more experience in entrepreneurship than in relationships, then you're an entrepreneur coach, a business coach. And so you just have to look at where your greatest strength is, and you got to be real with yourself and realize that we're not equally balanced on anything. Tony, what is your favorite movie, song, or scripture? I really don't have favorites of anything. I'm not that type of person. I'm kind of just, I can't even think of a song, to be honest with you. And I don't watch movies twice. And same with scripture, I hold them all equal. And I think it's just a personality thing. I know there's a lot of people is big on favorites, but I've never been that type of person. I'm not like a super attached type, or I don't like routine and mundane, things. I'll be spontaneous. Tony, what advice do you have for singles that want to have children? Singles that want to have children. You first got to have yourself, Angela. So before you can have children, you got to have yourself. So, and when you have yourself, meaning when you get where you need to be, you got to look down at, you got to go down the list. You got to say, have I hit my weight goal? Have I hit my career goal? Have I hit my balance goal? Have I hit my priorities goal? Whatever goals you have. And where you answering no, that could be the area that's holding you back from your relationship that will produce your children. And so you really have to first have the discipline and the sacrifice to have you before you can have kids. And if you want kids now, you can have kids with anybody. But if you just want children, it's any man will get you pregnant now. But do you want a relationship, a healthy relationship with that? So you got to think on that. With the guy in Nigeria, how should I take it if he waits until he returns? We talked for a while, and he mentioned that he was visiting. However, he didn't say family. If he wait until he return, he don't want you. You don't mean nothing to him, and he probably is over there with a family. If you don't hear from him while he over there, then he over there with a family. Because Nigerian people in Nigeria have Skype, Zoom, FaceTime, all that, WhatsApp. He could reach you if he want to reach you. My ex came with his family from Kenya. I'm so hurt because he didn't prepare us, and we were in a good place. How do I navigate this new norm? I thought I was strong. Now I'm questioning my strength. Well, you got to prepare yourself. And you said your ex. So if that's your ex, then that he shouldn't be getting too much of your brain pattern, your brain matter, power. You need to be moving on with your life. And sometimes I'm gonna tell you something about life. A lot of times people say, Tony, how do I get over this? How do I heal this? How do I do this? You just got to do it. Like, ain't no guideline, there's no battery for your back, it's you just got to put one foot in front of the other. You just got to go get a job. You just got to save your money. You just got to go to the shelter, go to the rooming house, go get into the room that you pay weekly. You just have to do it. And when you do it, that's where the strength comes from. It's just like when you working out. It's like the weight's not going to come to you. The workout ain't going to make you do it. You got to do it. But when you do it, you get stronger. And so the thing is to do. So when my son said to me last night on the text, I hit him with the Yoda quote. And I ain't never seen the movie. I just seen the quote. And it say, there is no try. Do or do not. That's what Yoda said. I hit my son with that when he's talking about, I'm going to try my best. There ain't no try. Do it or don't do it. And that's what we have to get to. And I think, honestly, you're going to realize that doing and not doing is the difference between success and failure. You just got to do it. And when you do it, you reap the benefit. But a lot of times we'll sit and we be twiddling our thumbs. So, you know what? How can I earn more money? Like, I sit there and I won't sell. I got all these courses that can impact people's lives, change people's lives. And I got all these people online and I won't sell. You go to my Instagram, I never post my academy and I won't sell. And I'll be sitting there and be like, man, how can I raise my income? And the answer is, Tony, send an email to your mailing list. And then anytime I do that, anytime I send an email to my mailing list of the students, it'll earn. Like, somebody'll take part in what I have created. But if I'm just sitting there, not sharing it with anybody, not telling anybody about it, nothing happens. But when I do it, I see the results. And not everybody gonna like your doing. When you start to do, some people not gonna like you doing, because mediocrity despises excellence. Someone who's stagnant will despise you if you're making progress. So you have to understand that as you gain, you're going to lose. So as new people come, some people going to be leaving too. as you helping somebody, when you helping somebody, you offending somebody else. It's always two sides to it. And so we have to realize that. Baby daddy only gets son once a week and gives me $300 a month. Should I file child support? Sister, I really see that that's a personal choice. That's a personal choice. I can't say what I would do in that situation. One thing I do know, men hate child support. I know men hate child support. Me, I don't fully understand it. I've never been on child support, and I've never had to put anybody on child support, so I don't know the latest rules and laws of it. I honestly, from a male perspective, I like it and I don't like it. It's like sometimes I like it if the guy's a bum, that he just running off on the plug. Then I like when he on child support because his license gets suspended and he can't do nothing with his life. And that's how I feel a man deserves that if he's gonna be a deadbeat dad, if he's not gonna help his kids. But then at the same time, you could do child support and the people, he could say he don't have a job and they put the man on $5 a month. One of my sister's sons, his daddy on $5. No, her daughter, her daddy on $5 a month. And he go down to the courthouse or whatever and put 50 cents on the books. But his child support literally is $5 a month because he ain't got no job. And so it's like, it just depends on the situation. All right, now, hold on now. Question coming in too fast now. What email should I contact in regards to my Tony Gaston Academy account? I'm going to tell you now, haven't been able to log in. What you ought to try to do is, for one, make sure you don't have two emails. So if you got a second email, try to log in with that other email. If your email has a really hard spelling, which I could tell your name is very hard, then that hard spelling, you most likely got a typo in your email address when you signed up. And so double check for yourself right there how you could get in. Let me see this, because I feel like I saw your email come in. You email in the right place though. You know what? I changed the password. I changed all the prices on the academy. Yep. So based on your name, I search your name in the academy, sister, and you put Hmail instead of Gmail. So again, I'm gonna change this for you right now. So again, when y'all go to TonyGastonAcademy.com, when you sign up, triple check your email, because that's everybody do that. And to be honest with y'all, because of this right here be happening, so you put Hmail instead of Gmail. So you can sign in now with Gmail. And then sometimes people be writing in acting like some people be writing in like I'm running a scam. Oh, I bought a course and I can't get to my course. I paid for this course and I mean be going off in the email. And then I go into the academy because I'm the only one with access to the academy. I gotta go in the academy. And right now we got like 200 emails. So sometimes when y'all write, I got to do the work personally because I'm the only one with access to the academy. That's a business lesson for y'all. I don't let nobody touch my money. Can't nobody log into my academy. Can't nobody log into my bank account. How people who got 7 figures, everybody have an accountant and all that. I'm my accountant. I tell the accountant what the numbers are. Don't tell me what the numbers are because I don't know you. You talk about my business at the salon. No, I tell you what the numbers is. And so on the academy, only I have to go in there. So when it's 200 emails in there, but the thing about it with everybody who having trouble is you put .con instead of .com, or you put Hmail or Ymail instead of Gmail, or you left a letter off on your name. And so try to log in with a typo, and then you're going to get in. And then when you get in, then you could change your email to the right thing. That's how to, problem solve, troubleshoot on your own when it's taking, because sometimes it might take me a week or two. to get back to you on the support. Cause I still run my business like that. Cause I don't trust people. And I know every business gets stolen from at some point, but me, I'm not the type of person to get stolen from. So that's why I don't give nobody that opportunity, because I don't want nobody to lose their life, and I don't want my family to lose me. So if I let somebody work for me and they steal from me, they're gonna be with the Lord. And so I know I'm not mature enough yet to let somebody steal from me and they still be here with us on earth. So that's why I don't put nobody in that position to set themselves up for failure and to set myself up for failure, and then I got to be in prison. So that's the God's honest truth. I'll be honest with you, because I could easily let somebody do it, but I just don't want nobody to set themselves up for failure. Because I know humans just gonna steal at some point. Just gonna steal. Just ain't gonna be that honest. It might take 20 years, but they're gonna steal. And even then, if the Lord ain't dealt with me yet, now I got to go to prison. So I'd rather do it myself. So we could keep this good work going, what the Lord got going. You got to know your strengths and weaknesses. No question, I just want to say that in the 2 years I've been following you, your work has been shaping me as a woman in every aspect. God bless you for real. Hey, God bless you. God bless your tips on healing and breaking the soul tie. You in the right place and you're doing the right thing. You're doing the right thing. Keep putting one foot in. It don't change. Vanessa told you, type in Soul Ties by Tony Gasson. And almost any question you're going to have, I got a video on it. So if you're new here, I got a video on it. How do I address my daughter's father's ex-girlfriend impersonating me by emailing OAG requesting paternity results? And OAG sent me a letter the request was made. I haven't told him yet, but I am upset. Just address it. Just send an email. Just send them a text message. Just address it. It's not something that is, that big. It's not like, one thing about men is no good time and there's no bad time to tell us what you got to tell us. It's going to get treated the same way, whether it's right after a funeral we just left or whether it's right before our birthday. It's like, as men, you dealing with the realities of life every single day. So it's not something that you have to make into this big grand thing and call a big meeting. You could just send them a text and say, hey, I received a letter from OAG that said there was a request made on my behalf for paternity results, and I did not send that request. Do you have any idea who could have done this? Just like that. Just like that. Our question above. OAG knew it wasn't me because, of course, as mother, I know there isn't any paternity results on file because he didn't want one. My daughter is his first only. She hurt. You got a good point. Tranisha, welcome to the Blessed Tribe. D. Tanner, welcome to the Blessed Tribe. Andy D. God bless you now. God bless you. Time 11 o'clock. Just plug my computer in. How long have I been on here? I'm gonna get off here at an hour. I just want to pop in and get my video in the books. And sometimes when you're in somewhere else, the Wi-Fi is a little sticky. And so me shooting the video and then not getting the video up, I'm trying to be consistent. Because I see people on YouTube who ain't talk about nothing worthwhile be consistent. Be doing videos every day. I say, man, if people who ain't talking about nothing do videos every day, if I'm trying to change people's lives and help people, I need to be doing videos every day. Can't let the devil outwork you. Should my kid's father be upset that I tell him the truth about himself and that I am not afraid to speak up for myself and our child when he is wrong? It depends on how you tell him. If you tell him with cuss words and you telling him with the intent to hurt him and you telling him, stuff in a way, then that's going to make him mad. And even if you say it nice, it's going to make him mad to you. He may respond to you angrily. But when you say it with love and respect, and in a way that you just want him to be a better person, when his head hit the pillow, those are the words that he's gonna hear that's gonna change his life. So change his life. So you gotta understand that. The prophetic. God bless you now. God has blessed me financially. My boyfriend, not much. When married, should we merge finances and assets? Will my money be his money? Um, that's a personal choice, and it's tough. It's tough. That's a personal choice. Me personally, I don't believe in a woman giving a man her money just because of how we are as men. Most men, we obsess over money because we take a lot of money to live and to live well. Most men struggle and obsess over money. So I never really would condone giving a man money or letting a man have access to your money. As men, just historically, we're not good with it. We just ain't good with it. Look at the United States giving us a darn credit score so that we get high interest rates. If we miss a payment from hardship, our credit score drop. And then the US owed China trillions of dollars. Do you know what the US credit score looked like with the trillions of dollars they owe? And so it's like, if a whole country can't manage money, then you break that down all the way to the person, to the head of a household, which is typically the man. If you marry, a lot of men don't know how to manage money either. And that's why they say 70% of Americans cannot touch $1,000 right now, because we struggle with managing money. It's not that we don't make money. It's just we struggle with managing money. And because we want to live, we want to spend, we want to have the nicest, we want to go out to eat, we want to travel. And so we want to feel the fullness of our bank account. So when it comes to money, that's a very touchy subject. It's a very touchy subject because I'm terrible with money. And depending on how you define it, I'm not good with money. And most people I meet are not good with money. And then the people who are quote unquote good with money, they really don't live. They're gonna die with a bank account full of money, and it's gonna go to somebody that's gonna squander it because they didn't earn it. So it's kind of double-edged sword, as my son always correct me. That is sword, not sword. I'm like, they shouldn't put no W in there then, son. My son is 16, not sexually active, and has his first girlfriend in high school. I don't agree with it, but I want to keep the trust me and him have. Do you have any tips on how to handle this as a parent? Well, for one, you should have already had that conversation before he was 16 that there is no girlfriend. My son has been being told since he was 9 years old, son, you're not getting a girlfriend. You're not getting a girlfriend. But a lot of times as parents, we try to avoid those conversations thinking that we're going to introduce the child to the conversation. No, the child already introduced to the conversation from their friends and from social media. So you should have been ahead of the situation. Now you looking for the pound of cure instead of the ounce of prevention. So to those of y'all reading her question, take the ounce of prevention so you won't need the pound of cure. And so in this situation right there, I would sit down and talk to him, and you got to make it make sense. So when you talking to a child, you really have to explain it, and you got to be able to say, listen, I don't think you should have a girlfriend, and I would like for you to, in love and memory of my beautiful wife, Toyka Kroon. God bless you, Benjamin. God bless you. Brother Benjamin lost his wife, and God bless you. And you got to talk to your son and say, I don't think you should have a girlfriend, and I would like for you to end that, and here is why. And you help him understand that, listen, you don't know what love is. You don't know what a relationship is. And what you're doing by getting a relationship, you losing a lifelong friend, because y'all are not going to make it. 99.9% of the time, you're not going to make it. And now you've lost this person. But now you've also made it harder for you to date someone else at school because she has friends. So now you can't talk to any of her friends. and you don't even know what love is. You don't know what a relationship is. You don't know what you want out of life. You don't know what you want in a marriage. So you got to really break it down and help him understand that this is something that people are doing, but they don't know what they're doing. And they're doing it because their parents don't talk to them and they're not transparent with them. And they're not letting them know that you're setting yourself up for heartbreak. You're setting yourself up for failure. And so you got to be able to, sit down and just pour your heart out. Just pour your heart out. Gina D, God bless you. Tony, God created man perfect, but mankind messed up anyway. So be encouraged in training your sons in the right way. Yep, I agree with that. You're right about that. You are right about that. Right. And that's why I am, and that's why I'm doing everything I can to prepare them. And the decision they make, I'm trusting. But one thing I've seen is if people raise right, they typically do right. It's typically the people who weren't raised right or didn't have a real example or a very transparent example that get on that wrong path and stay on it. So I'm hopeful and believing it's gonna work out. I hear a lot of Black women say that male worshiping is the reason why we're having a hard time with our men in our community. Can you give me your thoughts on this? Well, the thing about that is I don't know what male worshiping is. And so that's the thing with terms, is it only really means something to the author. So I can guess, but I don't know what that really means by that. And when it comes to our relationships, that could be a very real reason if it mean what I think it mean. But I do believe that there's a lack of accountability. But it's on both sides. So it's like if 10 of y'all DM'd words of affirmation and encouragement to these women that are portraying themselves as thoughts or Instagram models to lure men. These women who are putting up with cheating, putting up with all of this stuff. If 10 of y'all send a DM that say, hey, I know it's hard. I've been there. I've settled. But you are beautiful. You have an amazing personality. You can do better. But you got to believe and trust that you're worth more. Like Oliver Wendell Holmes says that when the mind is stretched to a new dimension, it never returns to its original form. So there is a lack of self-love in women. And so a lot of women feel worthless. A lot of women feel less than. And most women don't feel like the prize. They feel like the man is the prize. And so that may be what they mean by male worshiping. And so what's happening is you have so many women that are okay, that will tolerate cheating, that will be okay with a threesome, be okay with a foursome, that will be okay with their man going to the strip club, that will be okay with their man doing these different things. And when a woman is going to tolerate things, like the gentleman that's here with me, his wife left him, and that's what woke him up. He could have had any woman. He could have had a whole bunch of women, but it was the one woman who took a real stance, and she left him and she moved to another state. By her leaving him, dropping everything, and being willing to be alone, being willing to be embarrassed by getting a divorce, by her doing that, then it sent a shockwave through his life. And he said, this is what I need. A real woman who loves herself, who's going to stand her ground, and who's going to respect herself first. So we just don't have enough of that. Like, so the same way a good man will be considered a 1% man, then a good woman is considered a 1% woman. Because just as hard as it is for a woman to meet a man who is upstanding and righteous, it's becoming equally as hard for a man to meet a woman who is upstanding and righteous, meaning not being overly influenced by the media. And it's hard. Like like it's hard. It's hard. And what I'm saying is men being influenced by the media in the sense of wanting to be a fake dope boy, wanting to be a fake thug, wanting to be this rich guy, wanting to be this flashy guy. So men, we go and we do these things. I'm guilty of it. I got this watch because I seen that it's an Audemars and it's popular. It's a popular watch, and so I got this watch. I'm not really a watch guy, but I got this watch because of it's a popular watch. And my wife has lashes. She never had lashes, but over the last year or so, she got lashes. And then it's like once she got lashes, the people try to do a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more each time. And it's hard, because it's like, okay, if everybody got lashes, then the women without lashes start to feel like a baby chick, that they look like a baby chick, meaning a baby chicken. And then if everybody got a booty, then the women without a booty start to feel like they look like a teenage boy. And so, or a teenage girl. And so it's like the pressure becomes so great to adapt and to do what everybody else doing that it just leave 1% of men and 1% of women. And so that's really the issue, is just the permeation of the media's messaging into society is just weakening everybody, and nobody has a personal identity. Nobody has self-love, self-respect. Put a hashtag Q before your question. No comments at this time. So only questions in the chat. Why would a 40-year-old man lie about his age when the person he's dating is 29? Thank you. Because he's too old. Okay, too old for the 29-year-old. Is there hope for a 53-year-old who clearly lies and avoids to communicate to see 3-year-old child? He claims since child is 3, seeing consistently isn't a big deal. Seeing consistently might not be a big deal, at 3 years old. He could be right. People meet their daddy at 9, 10, 15 and fall in love with their daddy and live a prosperous life. He might be right. But at the same time, you have to ask yourself personal responsibility. Why did I have a child with a 50-year-old? You see what I'm saying? A lot of times we ask what is wrong with this person instead of asking what's wrong with me. And it's personal responsibility that has to be the number one thing. It's personal responsibility. And so this is what you bargain for when you had sex with a 50-year-old man. A man who is crazy enough to have children at 50 and not be married, it's like you can't expect much from that. If y'all wasn't married and y'all having sex and he 50 years old, if he was single and available at 50 and didn't marry you, what exactly are you expecting from that? You see what I mean? We grow when we have personal responsibility. I remember this guy. I heard this story. And there was this mother and father. They flew out to meet with this counselor, and they said, our son, he is, he's just driving us crazy. He spends all this money. All he does is just shop, and he just buys all this stuff. He has bad grades. He just wants to go skiing. He's out skiing right now, and he's just squandering through money, just wasting all this money. The counselor said, "So where's your son?" And they said, he's out skiing. Okay. And how does your son get money? We give it to him. Okay. And where does your son live? He lives with us. Okay. He said, your son doesn't have a problem. Y'all have a problem. Y'all are giving him the money. Y'all are enabling him. Y'all aren't holding him accountable. Y'all flew in for counseling and let your son go live his life. Your son living it up. He doing what he's allowed to do. He living great. He don't have a problem. Y'all got the problem. Y'all don't know how to parent. And that thing hit me. And so that's what I say, the answer a lot of times to our questions. There's a quote that says, and maybe it was by Albert Einstein, I don't know. It said, to every problem, there are seeds. Every problem has seeds to the solution. Meaning that with your question, any question we have about life, seeds to the solution lies within us. A lot of times the problem is just the repercussions of our choice. So the problem isn't with the person, it's with us enabling and allowing the person to do what they're doing. And we have to realize that. We got to realize that. Seen somebody ask, can you email me? And I want to explain something to y'all. Is, we have a few people on here right now. We got 400 or 500 people on here. And, I'm one person. And then y'all have to realize too that I'm not an entertainer. I'm a coach. So being a coach, it's a lot of people that have a question. I seen in my inbox a young lady that I worked with years ago that's trying desperately to have a session with me right now. And it's a lot of people that's writing in for a session, but I'm not doing one-on-one sessions just because I don't have the time to do one-on-one sessions right now, because I have to use that hour to reach tens of thousands of people, because I don't know when the Lord gonna call me home. So if I'm using an hour to talk to one person and I only get 24 hours, when I talk to one person for an hour, I might not even get to talk to my wife for an hour. I don't get to talk to my kids for an hour. So if I talk to one of y'all for an hour, that's an hour I gave away from my family. So I only do that in certain seasons. And then I have seasons to where I'm not doing any one-on-ones. And when I'm doing one-on-ones, it's still, people will look at it like it's a job, or like, oh, well, that's great. You make $400 an hour. But in that hour, I could make $40,000. In that hour, I could make $4,000. You see what I'm saying? So I have a 20-minute video that has earned $40,000. In that hour, I could have made 3 20-minute videos. That is $120,000. So people will look and say, oh, well, for one-on-one, you charge $400. That's a whole lot of money. Money is relative. It's relative to where you are and who you are and what type of business you're doing, and then how you prioritize your life. So I prioritize my time with my wife, my time with my kids over $400, because that gives me clarity and peace, so that when I go to work, I could create products that earn at scale. You see what I'm saying? So when I do one-on-ones, that's a service. That's me being a servant. I'm losing money in that hour, because that hour could also go to writing a book. I write my books in 5 days. So 5 days, and I write about 8 hours a day. 8 times 5 is 40 hours. So in 40 hours, I could create a new book that will live for life, that will live for the rest of the world, or I could talk to 40 people. So what do you think is more impactful? So I want y'all to understand that sometimes it's not about people being arrogant and being inaccessible and people always say, oh, never change, always be accessible. And it's easy to say when you're not being accessed. So to tell somebody who has 3.5 million people online, always be accessible, that's easy when it's not you being the one tugged on and pulled on. But it's extremely, and I think a lot of times people don't realize that and get mad, but that's really hard on the mental health. If I wasn't walking closely with God, I'd be suicidal just because of the weight on me from other people. And it's still days that you just feel like that and you got to go fill up. And so that's why I go to sporting events, just to try. But even at a sporting event, I'm looking at the event like I got a suite and I'm going to the games and I'm watching the game from a suite. Do you know it's a lot of games I can't even remember a play because my mind don't even be there sometimes because of the work and the load that's on me as a servant of God trying to serve the world. And one thing I've noticed in doing this is that I've noticed the selfishness of humans. Like even when we do these chats, it'll be people that'll go off because I didn't see their question. And they will literally get mad because I didn't see their question, like they don't see 100 other questions. And so I've learned the selfishness of humans. I've learned the greed of humans. I've learned the inconsideration of humans. I've learned that humans don't care about you. So you got to care about you. I've learned that. And it'll be very few humans that care about you. But them few humans might not be enough to sustain you. So you got to sustain you and you got to have God sustain you. And so this is why self-care and boundaries is not selfish. And so that's what we got to understand. Like, yeah, I could coach one-on-one and I could make more money. Like I could make some money doing it. But my peace of mind mean more to me. And that's why with Talks with Tony, I didn't Talks with Tony and I stopped doing Talks with Tony. And everybody was like, Tony, do Talks with Tony, do Talks with Tony. Them Talks with Tony is draining because I'm reading the same letter over and over and over. And so you have to think about this. Like, can you imagine how frustrating it'll be if you telling your friend the same thing every single day and they doing the same thing, they keep doing the same thing and you telling them the same thing every single day? That is demoralizing. So even though when you're a coach and I'm talking to different people, it's just a huge thing. It's a huge task because like the young lady, she asked Tony how to get over a soul tie. And that's because she may be new here. So she's saying, Tony, I need the answer to this question. But somebody who has been here, they're like, oh, well, Tony answered that in 10 different videos. Tony been answering that since 2007. So Tony been answering that for 15 years. So I've been answering that for 15 years, but I have to answer it for each new person that comes into. So that's a high calling. That's a high calling. And I'll be honest with you, that is why. So when I watch the men in the dark, when I say men in the dark, I'm talking about these podcasts, these toxic podcasts. I don't know what the titles are. Red Pill, Men Going Their Own Way, Manosphere, Alpha Male Strategies. These toxic podcasts that just belittle women and teach men how to game women, whatever term that is. And if the ones I said, that's not what they do, then that I ain't talking about them. But when I see some of the clips y'all send me and I see men yelling at women, cussing women out, going off on women, I understand it because I realize it's the other side of what I do. Meaning, when you call to it by God, you're graced with an amount of patience to help you operate in love. But it doesn't mean it's not draining. It doesn't mean that it's not extremely frustrating and extremely hard to do, but you're given the peace and the poise to show up with a positive presence. But it is the most draining work in the world. And I got a homeboy a long time ago. He said, I got holes in my socks. And I said, what you mean by that? He said, people can't see my problems. And I was like, man, because I had holes in my socks at that time. And I used to wear socks with holes in them, like literally. So when he said that, I know he wore socks with holes in them too. And that's probably how he came up with that quote. But that thing has stuck with me. And guess what? Your therapist has holes in her socks. Your therapist has holes in his socks. Your counselor has holes in her socks. Your counselor has holes in his socks. Your coach has holes in his socks. Your coach has holes in her socks. Your mama, your daddy, your sister, your brother, your pastor, your president, your principal, your police officer has holes in their socks. You can't see our problems. You can't see their problems. So that's why I look at every human as a human. And I look at nobody as special than any other human. Nobody as greater than any other human, because we all have holes in our socks. So I say that to say, when you approach a situation, you always have to approach it with the humility that you're not the only person that exists. And that's what I've been seeing. The young lady, she wrote in, oh, this is not the humble speaker that I met, because I'm not doing one-on-one sessions. She's saying that I'm not humble because I'm not doing a session with her that she left on the table from 2 or 3 years ago. And so I offered to refund the session, which she don't have a receipt for it. I don't have a receipt for it because it's from years ago. And so coaching expires within a year. And I say that to say is I get that all the time. People will come from years ago when I was $25 an hour. I think I had a session left. And so I just want y'all to understand that when you have tens of thousands of people tugging on you and you one person, I really want you to process that and put that into understanding. You tired of your sister calling you. You tired of your homegirl calling you. Your homeboy calling you. You tired of your mama stuff. You tired of your boss, your coworker business. How you think I feel when I have to read 10,000 opinions a week, thousands of questions a week? So I want y'all to put that in perspective to understand that, when I be doing this, I'm doing it from a place of love, from a place of service, but it ain't nowhere near as easy as I make it look. And I believe, honestly, that's maybe why God make it financially rewarding for some people or in certain ways. But even then, it ain't financial. It ain't like more money than you can spend. Coaches still paycheck to paycheck because they coaching people and they making money. But then from how draining it is, they spend their money on food or out to eat or clothes or vacation, trying to get that release, trying to relax. So understand that right there. Y'all understand that. I appreciate you. Peace and Bates. And I think a lot of times, people don't talk. People who doing this don't share that. And I feel like if our pastors was more transparent, we wouldn't put them on a pedestal. If our politicians, if our president, if our principal, if our police officers, policymakers were more transparent about the human side of what they're dealing with. You remember that guy in Florida, the man in Florida, the black brother that just seemed so well to do. I can't remember his name, Gilliam or somebody. And they found the man in the orgy with the drugs and all of that right there. When we first seen that man, everybody would have said, I want my son to grow up to be like him. But guess what? The brighter somebody's light is, the darker somebody's darkness is. So you got to understand that it's spiritual warfare and it's powers and principalities. That when you got a light on you, the darkness want to cut that light out. Because the darkness don't like that light to be shining. So your attack on your life is going to be greater than those who are not letting their little light shine. The darkness ain't mad at you if you ain't letting your light shine. But when you let your light shine, the darkness want to be dark. But if you got a light shining, oh, we got to shut that out. We got to shut that out. We got to shut you up. So we finna get you in a scandal. We finna get you in some kind of trouble. We finna get you in depression. We finna get you in suicidal thoughts. We finna get you with something to shut you up because you shining that light too bright. You see what I'm saying? You got to know that. You got to be ready for that. Tranisha, I missed that. God bless you, Tranisha. I ain't even see that. No question. God let me here to grow and learn. May you continue to be blessed and be a blessing. Y'all forgive me real quick. We got to shoot today. Okay. We got to shoot today. Let me see if I missed any question. Hi, Tony. How did you realize your calling in life? I'm a pre-med student. I just graduated with a double major and minor, all STEM. God led me to open my own ministry, and now I feel led to preach. Go on, preach, sister. Go on, preach. Just make sure that that you're doing it for the right reasons. That you're not doing it because somebody else doing it. That you're not doing it because it look good. That you're not doing it because you think it's attached to money or that money come with it. Make sure you're doing it for the right reasons. To be honest with you, a lot of time when God calls you to something, it's something you don't want to be called to. So I'll be honest with you. So sometimes when you want to do something, that might be reason to pause and to dig a little deeper and evaluate the motives. Because I don't want to do what I'm doing. I would much rather be in a car club with a car YouTube channel. You know, I like cars. I got a lot of cars. I would much rather be doing a car channel than to be doing this. But I'm called to this because if you notice, it's not a lot of men with over 1 million people online saying what I'm saying. You may know somebody in your community who's saying what I'm saying, but he hasn't been elevated yet. But when you take and look at social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and you combine those numbers, you won't find there may be 5 to 10 of us black males saying what I'm saying, like in this lane, in this vein, married, faithful, and promoting that. It's probably less than 10 of us with over 1 million followers online. So I say that to say it's a reluctant calling. It's something that you ain't excited about it. It's just something that you know that if you remove your voice, there'll be a void in the world. That's really your calling. Because a calling comes with a burden. A calling is like when you look at Moses, when he was called, he felt inadequate. He felt insecure, but he was called. When you look at Saul, he felt inadequate, but he was called to be Apostle Paul. When you look at David, he looked inadequate, but he was called. And so a lot of times what you have to realize about a calling, a lot of times we don't look the part. That's why somebody said, God don't call to qualify, he qualifies to call. That was a great quote. Whoever made that up. That was a great quote, but that person probably felt that. Don't nobody feel like I'm supposed to be doing what I'm doing. I meet people and they twice my age. And they like, how do you got this platform? How are you saying what you saying? How you doing this? I ought to be saying and doing that. And it's because they want to do it that God don't use them. Because if you want it so bad, that means you're going to want the fame. That means you're going to want the money. That means you're going to want the recognition. That means you're going to want the spoils that come with it. So the men who really want to do what I do, it's because they see a $30,000 watch. It's because they see a $300,000 car, and they don't realize that it's a lot that goes into that. It's a lot of business. It's a lot of blessings. It's a lot of stuff behind the scenes that I do in business that put me in that position that I don't talk about because that's not my calling to talk about business. That's why I started the Blessed Business Tribe, to help people with some business insight from the businesses I have built, because the world don't know me as a business builder. The world don't understand my business savvy and how I market myself and that I run my whole brand by myself. The world don't realize that I talked to a guy, he said he thought I had at least 10 staff. And so the world don't understand my business acumen and how I built the business out of my brand. They just see Tony talk on relationships. So I get questions all about relationships, no matter what space. I could literally go do a business podcast and they'll ask me relationship questions. And so I say that to say your calling is oftentimes different than your passion. Your purpose is oftentimes different than your passion, but you can become passionate about your purpose. So a lot of times people say, just follow your passion. Well, I'm passionate about singing, but I cannot sing. So, and that's what I talk about in my course, Entrepreneurship with Purpose. And I draw this parallel between trying to marry your passion with your gifts with your passions, because sometimes they're different. And I see a lot of times people passionate about something, and and they're not good at it. But they're passionate about it because it challenges them and it makes them feel alive. I saw a lady the other day who has a channel and she is singing. And she is very, very serious. She is singing very seriously. And it do not sound good. It does not sound good. And I am not a tough critic. Like, I usually say somebody could sing when they barely could sing. And the lady do not sound good. And it showed up on my popular page. And I was like, Lord, oh no. And that's when somebody pursuing their passion, but it's not their gift or their purpose. So that's what we got to understand. Tony, what exactly do you enjoy as business? I enjoy creating, that's what I enjoy, creating. But I don't necessarily enjoy business. Honestly, I enjoy living. I enjoy time with my family. But we have to do business to take care of our family. But business is not, it's fun in the sense of creating and trying something new, doing something, but it's equally as stressful. So the enjoyment come from being able to go on a vacation with your family, being able to buy my wife a dope outfit, nice pair of shoes, that type of stuff. But work is work, work is work. Your purpose is your purpose. Your calling is your calling. And y'all remember the greatest who ever walked the earth was Jesus Christ. And y'all remember he went up to the mountaintop and went to praying to his Father. And he said, Father, if there's anything, is there any way that this cup could be passed from me? Now, rightfully so, his calling was very, very, but he was born for it. He was born for it. He was built for it. He was purposed for it, and still tried to run from it. when his only reason for existing was to fulfill the purpose of salvation, and he still tried to run from it. So, to be honest with you, to everybody on here, your purpose may be the thing that you're running from. Your purpose may be the thing that you're scared of, the thing that you want to do the least. That may be where your purpose is. Because where we passionate at, passion a lot of times coincides with pleasure. All right, Tony, how can I get my fiance, sorry about that, to communicate without we argue? It could be the simplest thing. Example, he comes home, the door to bed is unlocked. He said it was locked. Make a big deal out of it. You know, you gotta sit down and talk to him and say, hey, so how are things going? Like, how are things going? Like, how's work going? Like, how do you like it? Okay. Who do you like? Why don't you like him? Wow. Well, who do you like? What is it about him that you like? You see what I'm saying? We never had those conversations. And nobody really has those conversations with men. Nobody really asks those questions like, how are you doing? And so it's not about the door being locked. It's really about his stress. It's really about the pressure that he feels. It's really about the sense of inadequacy or failure. And so you have to, instead of addressing that, you got to address the underlying, and just talk to him. Why does it seem like, man, I've been on here too long. I'm going to take a few more questions and get going. Oh, let me see what time we got. Just trying to make sure I ain't got no time for my shoot. Wow. My wife sent me a picture of my son. That boy thigh is big. But I got a big old muscle in that leg. Y'all forgive me now. Why does it seem like guys like mean girls that want their money, but it seems like for me not asking for anything get me literally nothing, not even a date? Guys don't like mean girls. Guys like confident women. Guys like strong women. If you too nice, sometimes you get ran over. And so you have to understand, and you got to assert yourself. So you got to feel worthy. It ain't about asking for money, but you got to feel worthy of that date being paid for. And you saying thank you versus you not letting him pay for the date. And so that's what you got to understand. And I was saying it to my son last night. We were just talking about stuff. And I said, if they don't fear you, they might not respect you. And if they respect you, they might not fear you. And really what I was talking about is just how in life, sometimes you got to get that respect. You got to demand that respect. You got to require that respect, especially from a man. Because if a man don't respect you, he really don't want you. Like if you too easy, if you a pushover, then you really don't want it. If you had 10K to invest, with which direction would you go to maximize gains? I wouldn't focus so much on the gains. I would focus more on purpose and legacy. Because you can make money. Like I put money, I bought a Bitcoin. I bought a Bitcoin when it was $3,000. And I sold a Bitcoin when it was at $57,000. After I sold a Bitcoin, I still had some. After I sold a Bitcoin at $57,000, it went all the way down to $30,000. So it's like gains could come from anything. 3,000 turned into 60,000 with a Bitcoin. Same thing with stock market. 10,000 could become 20,000 in a year with a certain stock. It could have been Tesla a year or two ago, but you really have to think about the intrinsic value. So I know this. I got a partner who comes from a billionaire family, and I remember when we first started investing in stuff, he was saying I look for intrinsic value. And so if it's something that you could be a part of, so if I had $10,000, if you have a heart and a passion for cooking, then you literally could start a restaurant for $10,000. It might be a walk-up window that costs $750 a month for that little business like mine did, but I didn't run it and that wasn't my passion. So it went out of business in a year. But if I was a cook and I was cooking and had one person working the window, that business would be booming because they was making $1,200 a day out of my restaurant, but the food cost was $200 to $300 a day. So they was profiting $900 a day, and they was open 6 days a week. So 9 times 6 is $5,400 a week. Now, this was a walk-up window in a black neighborhood, and it was just a little building. It was just a little building, and you come up to the window, and it had a kitchen in there. So if you are a cook, to get in there, it was $750 for the rent. So to get in, it was first and last month. So it was $1,500. Got to turn on the gas, turn on the lights, turn on the water. Gas, lights, and water each month came to about $750 for all three of them. The rent was $750. It was $1,500. The food cost $300 worth of food. The neighborhood coming to the window, they buying oxtail, they buying turkey wings, they buying chicken wings, collard green, mac and cheese, chitlins. They buying this right here. It's making $1,200 a day, $900 profit. If I was the cook, yes, I'm tired, but if I love cooking, I could do that for the rest of my life. So it ain't just about the gains. I honestly believe, and I think I'm the one made this go viral. And then everybody started saying it because I was on Twitter going viral in 2010. The best investment you can make is in yourself. My returns, I got one business that cost me $99 a month. And it make on a minimum of $10,000 a month. But it's in my lane. It's my business. It costs $99 a month to manage and to run, and it make $10,000 a month at minimum. If I look across the course of a year, but see, this is in me. I'm investing in me. So if I look over the course of a year, the business average $58,000 a month in revenue, in profit. It costs $99 a month to maintain and manage. It's a website. So, and the website have content. So $58,000 a month, $99, but that's an investment in me. Now, the content may cost me one time producing content, but then the content live forever. So then the work comes and the investment comes in building a brand, posting every day online to get a following. But where on the stock market can you pay $99 a month and make 60,000? But if you in your purpose and you in your gifts, eventually it can get there. It might take you 5 years, 10 years. But when you invest in you, you eventually gonna be profitable because you doing the work, you putting the time in, and it's based on you. So I could put $10,000 into Tesla, but if Elon Musk tweets something stupid, in 24 hours, my $10,000 is $5,000. But if I put $10,000 into me, into my barbershop, into my salon, into my coaching business, and then I start doing the work, it might take me 12 months to make $10,000. But if I keep going, I'm eventually going to be making $100,000 or $50,000 off of that 110,000. So that's how you have to think about investments. A lot of times people come and they say, Tony, how do I invest money? How do I invest it in you? Identify your gifts, not just your passion, now your gifts. A gift is different, can be different than a passion. A gift is what you could do naturally that not everybody can do. Not everybody can do it. Sorry about that. My cousin asked me for a graphic designer. I was asking my mentee if we had a shoot time for our interview, but we ain't got none, so I'm still working. My wife and them, they out working. I mean, at the game. My child's father, best friend, just passed away yesterday. He called me crying, was very upset, and beating himself up for not seeing his friend before he passed. How can I support him? Well, that was yesterday, sister. So, that day has passed. He got through the day, and all you could do is just be there for him. Just send him a text. How are you? Just like that. See what he say. Get on the phone with him if he call you, and just listen. Support isn't always about giving or doing. Sometimes it's just about being there. Just being there, being quiet, just listening, being a support system. I really appreciate y'all. Because y'all be asking me about everything. Now, see, can y'all imagine if the Lord let me live till 60 years old? I'm gonna be on somebody's couch. I'm gonna be on my own couch. I'm gonna be doing TED Talks. Cause y'all be asking me some of everything now. I'll be like, listen, I ain't got all the answers now. Sorry, I'm checking with my wife. How do I tell my husband I don't want to have? We waited until marriage to move in. Tell my husband. Now I realize we don't know each other well. It turns me off. He's a great guy. Well, I tell you what now. That's your husband. So it sounds like y'all gonna have to go to counseling. And y'all gonna have to talk through this. I also don't know, because you really got to identify the mistakes, because you don't have to live with somebody to know somebody, because nothing changed when you live with somebody, in the sense of, yeah, you're gonna see you might smell your little gas every now and then, but that won't matter if you got to know the person before you got married, meaning talking an hour a day, spending that time. Like, if if a man marries a woman and he got to know her and he loves her, and she accidentally forget to take her tampon out before she get in the shower, and she take that out and sit it on the side of the shower, and it end up getting left there or sitting on top of the trash can, it's gonna gross him out. But if he love her, that ain't gonna change nothing. If a woman love a man and he get in the bed and he go to turn over and he pass gas, that's gonna gross her out. But it ain't gonna make her not wanna have sex with him or be ready for a divorce. So the issue is y'all didn't get to know each other before the marriage, and now y'all need to get to know each other. So y'all need to date every single week. Y'all need to sit down and talk an hour a day. Y'all need to keep courting, keep dating, and don't just try to go right to marriage. But you also got to realize that's your husband. So when it's your husband, you know, there's going to be time as married people where sex feels like a chore because we tired or what have you. But because we are with this person, if they want to be intimate, we have to get over ourselves and be intimate because we chose to marry this person. Now, if we express and there's love and you express I'm not feeling good, then that person love you, they're going to respect that. So that's also something. So just having that conversation, he's not God. And that's one thing I don't understand with women is a lot of times, and that might be what the lady was talking about, male worshiping. A lot of times women, women, y'all ask me so many times, how do I tell this to my husband? How do I say this to my husband? Just say it. That's not God. That's a man. Like, what you scared of? Like, hey, just say it. It's like you dealing with a man. Like, we be so ready. We don't mind sinning against God, who controls and who holds our future, but be scared to talk to a human. Like, we have to really bring it down to that right there level and say, why am I scared to talk to a human? But I ain't scared to sin against God, who holds my future and grace and mercy. You see what I'm saying? Got to look at it like that. Hey, if y'all ask one question, don't ask a second question. If you see it's other people who have asked a question that I ain't got to their question, you know, make sure you don't try to turn this into no one-on-one session, because we got a few people on here. Hi, my boyfriend has these bouts where he tells me he doesn't deserve me and to stop trying to care about or understand him. He also says he doesn't love himself. What are your thoughts on this? He's crying out for help. So he wants you to love him. He wants you to care about him. He wants you to talk to him. He's crying out for help. So get him a good book, or get him a good audio book, watch something good on Netflix, go out to dinner, do dates, set up dates, give him a week heads up. Hey, next Friday night, I scheduled us a date at such and such. It's gonna be a great time. Let me know. Do you need anything as far as outfit wise or what have you? Get him engaged, get him active. Those like little signs of his many depressions, and that's really a man crying out for some attention and for some help. That's all that is. My 13-year-old son is playing mom against dad to get his way, asking to live with dad since I'm strict, but it's not in his best interest. How do I tell him no without being the villain? You can't tell him no without being the villain, but you can't worry about being the villain. And if he doing that, it's really because you got some holes in your consistency. So you got to be consistently strict, and you got to be strict in love, and you also got to have a reward system. So if he doing good and he doing good things, okay, that's a new pair of shoes or a special outing. So you can't just have a punishment system. You got to have a reward system. And so he gets something good for the good, but he also realized he get chastised for the bad. And that'll let him know that, oh, okay, it's not just about being strict, that this is coming from love. Hey, y'all, I appreciate you. We've been on here 2 hours. God bless you. I tried to answer some of these here questions, and y'all got to forgive me for being long-winded on some of them. Just some of them take a little bit more in-depth explanation. But appreciate you for the questions, and thank you to the moderators for helping out. This is Saturday. I appreciate y'all helping out and showing up on here and making this a little easier for me. And thank you to the new the Blessed Tribe members and the Blessed Business Tribe for joining. And to the Patreon, um, I'll be releasing some more exclusive content for Patreon here soon, to where they showed me now I could upload native videos. So I may do that, so I don't have to put it as an unlisted link on YouTube. So thank you for that. And again, don't join Patreon until the 1st, because they charge you on the 1st of each month. So if you join today, it'll charge you again on the 1st. And so unless you have the money, but if you don't want to be charged 2 times that close, then just wait. But for the Patreon, I'm going to be putting some exclusive courses over there that's just for Patreon, like just little videos, maybe like 4 videos that make up one topic, one course. But I'll be doing that just because it's a different level of support over there on Patreon, because Blessed Tribe is $1.99, and on Patreon it's a whole nother system. And then too, with that, we're going to be actually producing. So for the support that's over there on Patreon, I actually have not touched the money. I haven't touched the support, like Patreon just holding it. You got to go in and do a manual withdrawal, I believe, or maybe if you don't withdraw it, they send it on a certain date. But I haven't touched it because I'm gonna use that support specifically for projects. So that'll be going right back into producing for the YouTube. So the Patreon will just y'all will get early access, unless it'll mess up the premiere or something. You'll get early access, but understand the Patreon is just to support in the productions of like titles, the show, and the reality production, the unscripted things. That's what that's for. And so I appreciate y'all for supporting over there like that. And lastly, the life coach certification is $500 less. It was $1,500. I made it $1,000 just to make it more affordable, because my mentor.life, we got coaches on there, but it still need more coaches. And if you join my mentor.life, make sure that you don't just join just trying to pat yourself on the back to feel like you're doing something. If you join my mentor.life, take it serious, because right now we're dealing with a coach who got on there, got booked, probably thinking that he wasn't going to get booked, and missed the session, rescheduled the session, missed the session again. And so now the admin, they emailing me saying, hey, can we refund this client? And I'm like, he need to refund her for getting it butt on here and missing the session. So y'all understand, I created my mentor.life, but I'm not, they are independent professional coaches. When you book a coach on my mentor, the money go to the coach. The money don't come to me. The money go to the coach. And so y'all have to, when you book a session, if the coach don't show up and the coach don't reschedule, call PayPal and PayPal will refund you the money, and then the coach got to pay that money back to PayPal. And if you call them one time, they don't do it, call them again. And the money come from, you pay through PayPal, but that's connected to your bank account or to your credit card or your debit card. So if PayPal don't give you the money back, call your bank or call your credit card, and they'll refund you. Say, I paid for a service and I didn't get it. Now, don't scam the system if you got the service. And so what I'm saying is, the reason why we have coaches that didn't take my life coach certification, they took other certifications and they get on there. A big part of my certification, the reason why I created my certification, is to teach integrity. So I teach on integrity in my certification, and I kind of punching you in the chest when you in that course. So the part about self-evaluation, We done had people stop right there because they started feeling like, man, I ain't got my heart right. I'm not ready to coach. A lot of people don't care about that. I want coaches with integrity. So that's why I created the life coach certification. And it's people charging $5,000, $10,000, $12,000 for a life coach certification. And it's just not that, it's not that deep. It's just not that deep. I can't bring my heart to charge nobody $10,000 in this climate. And so it's $1,000. It's still an investment. No, it's not a payment plan, because people do the payment plan, pay 1 month, take the course in 1 month, get the certificate, and then don't finish the payment plan. Again, low integrity, no integrity. And so I had to remove the payment plan so that the scammers and the coaches without integrity can't come steal a certificate and then get on my mentor.life and then be missing sessions. So I'm trying to do my part to create an ecosystem and to have the coaching industry with some integrity and some class and some decency, so people who don't want therapy or who don't need therapy can hire a coach and still feel taken care of, respected, and all of that. And I can't do one-on-ones right now, but I'm talking to 3.5 million people online. So it's a lot of people that want a coaching session, but because I can't coach everybody, that's why I created my mentor.life. So whereas a lot of coaching certifications, they taking your money to regurgitate some information to you, but then they don't have a platform for you to get booked by clients. And it takes time to get booked, and your page got to be set up right to get booked. So you got to understand that now. So, hey, God bless y'all, and we'll talk soon. Thank you again, moderators. I really appreciate you. I know I seen Mama Tish and Cher on there today. If Glam Rocks and Caramel Kiss was on there, shout out to y'all too. God bless you. Now I'm on the computer, so I have to figure out how to end this on the computer now. And for those of y'all ain't know, I ain't at home. I'm in the bed and breakfast. I know, oh, Tony got a refrigerator behind his head.